So here's part two, because we're going to go through my life. And this is why I believe Sascha Riley. So I think a plus side of me doing it this way is that I'm doing 10 increments of TikTok videos, and it's taken a little bit of time in between each to do the downloading part because I have a crappy phone and I have to delete it after I make it, um, which is allowing me space to breathe and pull myself back together. So hopefully I'm not like a blubbering mess. Um, and if I do become one and then I'm not one when I get in the next video, it's because it took a little bit to get everything done. So we were at the point where, so we lived in Indianapolis for the first 5 years of my life. That's good. That's a thing to know. And when my mom had her breakdown, they didn't know what to do with her. And there wasn't care in Indianapolis to properly take care of her. So we moved back to Pennsylvania, which is where I'm from, which is where I was born. And my dad packed us up one night and drove us back. Now, I was 5. My sister was a newborn. And we arrived back in PA. I was asleep. I was put into a bed. And my dad left me at his sister's house. And I love my aunt to death. She's been like a second mother to me a lot in my life. Um, but she no longer speaks to me now. We'll get to that part later. So I wake up in a house full of people I didn't know. And this is where a different round of AB started. Because everything prior to this was in Indianapolis. There was 5 different perps in Indy, but all within the family. Okay, get to Pennsylvania, new setting, new situation. I don't remember any more filming once I got here. However, one of my cousins started assaulting me. Um, I started wetting myself. I would shut down. I had abandonment issues by this point because even though my dad had been assaulting me, my safety structure and those things that were pillars in my life were gone. And I was in a completely other situation. And that's something that needs to be remembered because it affects me later in life. It affects me for the rest of my life, or at least until now. So the assault went on while I remained in this house. Um, it took a while, a long while, for my dad to come back and get me. And when he did, and my mom was out of the hospital, uh, she was so heavily medicated that she wasn't really there, even though she was physically there. And it was like this on and off for years, years. But it's needed to know that she was taken out basically by these meds because they were just trying to figure out how to deal with what was going on with her. We moved into a house in Washington, Pennsylvania, and a few different things happened here. Uh, One of which was my dad had started drinking heavily. You know, imagine being a 20 something man, your wife is sick, you don't know what's wrong, because at this point they didn't diagnose her with schizophrenia, not right off the bat. They said it had to do with her menstrual cycle. They didn't come up with the schizophrenia for a little bit. But she's super heavily medicated. Can't take care of the kids, really. Um, and he's trying to cope. My dad, in that scenario, when he is on on that substance, was not a good man to me. I was his way of getting out his frustrations when he was intoxicated. He started physically assaulting me, verbally assaulting me, and the essay continued way more violently without him having remorse because this was fueled by that liquid substance. So that was happening. Now let's tack on a little something else. So my neighbor, because we lived in kind of it was not a duplex because there was three different apartments in one house. And the girls that lived above us, there was a 12-year-old girl and there was a girl that was my age. And so let me also make this statement was I'm in first grade at this point. I'm urinating my pants at school. I'm not talking. I am completely shut down. And nobody's doing anything about it. The school's not doing anything about it. Obviously, my parents are struggling themselves with all kinds of things. I don't blame I don't blame them. I'm in a different spot of processing today where like 10 years ago I was still angry. Um, so let's get back to these girls. So the girl that was my age, her older sister started assaulting the two of us and facilitating the two of us to do things. And I think this is ultimately when I realized that girls were not my bag. They were not my bag. Because or I don't think this made it that way, but like, I think I first noticed it then. Um, but that continued while we lived there, which made me shut down even more because I had nowhere to go. Like, my mom couldn't protect me because she was so heavily medicated. My dad was self-medicating and using me to take out his aggressions and frustrations. And we remained in that place. I'm not exactly sure how long of a span of time it was, but we ended up moving to what became my hometown, which was Claysville, Pennsylvania. And I'm mentioning the name of the town because a part of my traumas are rooted so heavily there, period, right? So during this time, though, I wasn't seeing my cousin, so I wasn't being assaulted by him. Um, that didn't happen until we got back to Claysville. But my grandfather was also assaulting me during this time, and he had been since I got to Pennsylvania. He was not a good man by any means. He was great at giving appearances, which is, my family was really good at that. People really liked members of my family, but they didn't see the dark side to them. They saw the side that knew how to woo and swoo and do whatever it had to do because this is generational trauma. What happened to me happened to my dad, happened to my grandpap. I don't care about him. And so forth down the line. We're ending to now.